This song is called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant, that's just the name of the song. And that's why I call the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant.
The song Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie was written and released in 1967, inspired by true-life experiences of Guthrie's. Growing up surrounded by music, Arlo took influence from his dad and many other performers. His first public performance at the age of 13 in 1961 brought him quickly into the world of music. Alice's Restaurant, released 1967, was made 12 years after the start of the Vietnam War. Movement against the war had started in 1964, with 12 New Yorkers publicly burning their draft cards on May 12th. The anti-draft song fit right in the protest social scene. The story of the song goes that Arlo leaves to visit Alice with his friend Richard for Thanksgiving. As a nice gesture, he takes out Alice's trash. Finding the dump is closed, they dump it on the side of the road. The next day, they are arrested for littering. The police set up a very complicated prosecution, only to be a quick trial by a blind judge, described by Arlo as
case of American blind justice, and there wasn't nothing he could do about it.
He was fined for the offense and had to pick up the litter. He then switches the song over to the war draft. He tells of his experience in the draft office, importantly his psychological exam. He tries to display himself as a psychologically insane person who should not be in the military, a common tactic for people trying to avoid the draft. Arlo portrays himself jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill! Kill!" The psychologist refutes comically, "You're our boy." Upon further questioning, the draft officer asks Arlo if he's ever been arrested. Arlo then connects the two stories of Alice's and the draft office. He then fills out many forms to describe the crime of littering. At the end of the song, he is asked if he has rehabilitated himself. Arlo then points out the irony that the officer wants to know if he is moral enough to join the army. The army described as to burn women, kids, houses, and villages. Guthrie starts to describe that if you find yourself in a similar situation, there's only one thing you can do. That is, walk into the shrink and say,
Shrink, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant, and walk out.
He finishes the song with leading the audience in singing, "You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant." The meaning of the song, at first it appears to be simply to tell the story of Alice's Restaurant, but when Arlo brings the draft into the song, this can clearly be labeled as a protest song. The point of the song is to describe the irony of morals in the army. When Arlo is asked by the draft sergeant,
"Kid, you rehabilitated yourself?" I went over to the sergeant and said, "Sergeant, you've got a lot of damn gall to ask me if I've rehabilitated myself. I'm sitting here on the bench. I'm sitting here on the Group W bench. 'Cause you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the army, burn women, kids, houses, and villages after being a litter bug."
Arlo's point here is to illustrate that the army is immoral, and the army shouldn't be the judge of morals when they are the ones killing people. Although the song is not a landmark in the protest scene of the Vietnam War, it was first played on a radio station in 1967. It was so popular that they only pledged to play it when money donations were made, since it was a non-commercial station. The song became a tradition for many radio stations to play on Thanksgiving, a tradition that continues until today in many places. The song was too long to be released as a single, but a shorter version was released and barely made the Billboard Hot 100. Arlo drew from many experiences to create this song. From growing up surrounded by the influence of his dad to the real-life stories he recounts in the song, his goal of trying to resist the draft is easily seen in the lyrics. The effects of the song are more in the tradition of Thanksgiving and less in the protest of the Vietnam War.